All right. It looks like I've got quite a few of you online. Welcome and huge congratulations to all of you for your offer into the JD in 2026. We are so excited to have you here. I'm thrilled to introduce you to our Dean, Michelle Foster, who will be taking you through the first part of our presentation, followed by the Director of the JD, Megan Prichter, and then the JD, some current students from our JD cohort who'll be able to answer any of your questions that you have. So, Michelle, I will hand over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Harriet, and thank you so much to all of you for joining us today. I would like to offer also a very warm congratulations. It really is a wonderful achievement that you've been offered a place at Australia's #1 law school. We're really excited for you and really look forward to welcoming you in just a few months' time in early February for orientation. But in the meantime, the idea of this webinar today is really just to give you a little bit more background, a little bit more of the flavour of Melbourne Law School. I'm going to just sort of really just make a few introductory comments, tell you a little bit about why I think it's such a wonderful law school. And then I'm going to be handing over to my colleague, Megan Prichter, who's the director of the JD program, who will take you through some of the nuts and bolts. And then, as you heard, you'll be hearing from some of our current students, which of course will be a really wonderful insight into what life is really like at Melbourne Law School. So I'd like to begin by acknowledging that at least we here at the university, you are probably all over the world and all over Australia, but we here at the university are meeting today on the unceded lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. And I do just want to take this moment to recognise what a historic moment it is in the state of Victoria. We have the statewide Treaty Act that was recently passed and came into force, which means we are the first and at the moment only treaty jurisdiction in the country. And so what that means for you as incoming JD students is that you are going to be the first cohort to be studying law in a treaty jurisdiction. So it's an enormously exciting and important time to be studying law. I thought I might just say a little bit about myself before I talk about the program. So as you know, I'm the Dean of the Law School. I've been in this position for a little over a year, but I have been at Melbourne Law School for almost 21 years, which I find a little bit hard to believe, but it's because I love the law school so much. It is a place that's full of really talented and dedicated academic staff. And every year we get to welcome a new batch of dedicated and talented students. There are so many opportunities here for you, and it's just such a pleasure to be here to tell you about them. So I think the next slide says a little bit about what a law degree will offer you. I suppose you're at the point, having not just applied but been given an offer, that you probably have a pretty good idea of what you might want to gain from your law degree. But I think it is helpful to remind you that people who graduate from Melbourne Law School are highly sought after, both in our legal profession but also beyond. Because of the value of the degree, because of the critical, analytical, all the skills that you will develop in the degree means that you are well placed for whatever path you decide to pursue. And indeed, our graduates, as I say, are highly sought after in the profession. One of the lovely aspects of being the Dean is that I do spend some time sort of out there in the world talking to employers, and I'm constantly being told, MLS graduates are outstanding. There's a lot of interest in from the firms, from all sorts of employers in MLS graduates. And I think it's partly because of it's mainly the quality of the students that we attract. It's the outstanding colleagues that are teaching our students. But it's also, I think, the really unique nature of the JD being that all of you that come in have an undergraduate degree. You have a level of maturity, you have a level of critical thinking and basic skills that mean the level of engagement in the classroom is really quite advanced. It is, as you'll be hearing from my colleague Megan, this is a master's level degree. It's not an undergraduate degree, and we teach it to that level. And so it really is quite different from holding an undergraduate law degree. It also means, having all of you come in with all of your different backgrounds means that it's a fascinating classroom experience because you're all bringing a different discipline, a different set of life experiences to the study of law. So you've probably seen all of these rankings. You're probably well aware of these rankings. And really the point of this slide is not to remind you that we are highly ranked, but really just to say a little bit about what that means. How are these rankings derived? And, I've talked about how employers rate the law school and particularly the JD very highly. And of course, that feeds into the rankings. But really, it's also about our research excellence. So we are a research intensive law school. Not all law schools are, but Melbourne is. And that, of course, is reflected very much in our rankings. And what it means for you as students is that you are being taught by the leaders in the field, by the people that have written the textbook, the people that are writing submissions to government, the people that are being asked by the UN High Commissioner for Refugees or the International Labour Organization to provide expert consultation services. These are people that are out there that have outstanding expertise that's recognised internationally, and they are bringing that research into the classroom. So we describe our style of teaching as research informed, research led. So we don't think about our academics as being researchers on one hand and teachers on the other. They really have integrated careers and bring that research expertise into the classroom. So the rankings really reflect our outstanding research, the excellent teaching. We're ranked very highly for our teaching excellence, and as we said before, the way employers and others externally view our reputation. So this slide, this is only a very small snapshot of our academic staff. We have about 130 academic staff, so it's the largest law school in Australia. But really the point is to say that we have very diverse professional backgrounds. I said earlier that I would say a little bit about myself, and as I mentioned, I have been here a long time. Before I was the Dean, I had specialised in public law for my academic career. So I've taught constitutional law for a long time, which is the best compulsory subject. There are other good ones, but constitutional law is wonderful. But I've also had the chance to develop a suite of subjects in my area of research, which is refugee law. And more recently, before I became Dean, I had set up the Peter McMullen Centre on Statelessness, which is the only centre globally that specialises in statelessness. And indeed, we have a number of centres that are the only one in the world. So again, that research excellence is here at MLS. But the point of this slide is to say that our colleagues come from really diverse professional backgrounds. So as you see from this slide, they have all sorts of backgrounds, not just academic. They have experience in the community legal sector, the bar, law reform bodies, etc. And many of them, as I mentioned earlier, have ongoing connections in the profession. They may be consultants for local organisations, international organisations, and so are very much engaged in the practice of law. I think the next slide is a little bit about our values. So I've already mentioned our place. We are very aware of our place on Wurundjeri country. We have the Indigenous Law and Justice Hub, which offers a suite of subjects, including travelling subjects, one involving travel to Darwin and one involving travel to Aotearoa, New Zealand, to be thinking about Indigenous issues in that context. But we also have Indigenous knowledge and perspectives really mainstreamed throughout our degree, which is really unique in Australia. And of course, our community is really the heart of the law school. The law school is the community. We very much value community. The way we teach is very much face-to-face, interactive, discussion-based. The corridors are full when the semester is in full swing, and that's because we think that coming in and being part of a community is really critical to the study of law. And we have, you'll hear from the students, we have so many opportunities for you. It's not just the opportunities of learning from excellent academics in the classroom, but we offer such a wide range of opportunities for our students to be engaged in competitions and societies and groups and all sorts of opportunities. So we encourage you to come to MLS ready to embrace all of the opportunities that are on offer. I think there might just be one more slide. Yeah, so I have touched on the excellent research at Melbourne Law School, but I think that's epitomised really clearly in the number of research centres that we have. So you can see from this list that we have many research centres. We in fact have over 20. They're not all listed there, but it really gives you an idea of the breadth of research excellence at MLS. There is something for everyone. You might already know that you have a strong sense of corporate law. So the Melbourne Centre for Corporate Law might be a research centre that you would like to be affiliated with. But you can see here there's a wide range of groups. And those research centres provide all sorts of opportunities for our students, some formally, some offer internships or paid research positions. But even those that don't offer those are open. They run all sorts of seminars and workshops that are open to all, including our students. So it's a really wonderful way to get to know the academic staff beyond the classroom, but also to hear from the very wide range of outstanding international colleagues that visit the law school on a weekly basis. There is always an excellent workshop or seminar to attend. And one of the challenges is, you can't do everything, but you can see here the breadth. And it's probably just worth pointing out that a couple of those research centres are truly interdisciplinary. So the Centre for Artificial Intelligence and Digital Ethics, CADE, is a collaboration between Melbourne Law School and the Faculty of Engineering. Melbourne Climate Futures is a true interdisciplinary centre. It's actually located sort of in central campus, and it has colleagues from all over the university. And again, each of those centres, as well as all the centres that are based here in Melbourne Law School, offer so many possibilities for you to engage with them. So I think that might be time to hand over. I mean, this last slide is really just emphasising what I've said about how community is so important to us, that we're a really inclusive community. I've talked about the diversity of our academic colleagues, but we also have a very diverse student body. We have students from all over Australia, from all over the world, from all different backgrounds, from different disciplinary backgrounds. We have students who are first in family. We have others who are, perhaps parents are lawyers. But of course, there's no reason that you have to have any background in law to succeed here, because of our very strong community, because we have an outstanding connection with our alumni. We have a mentoring program. So it doesn't matter what your background is, you will be welcome and you will be given every opportunity to succeed and thrive. And really, that's just how I'll end. We did have a face-to-face opportunity a few days ago for people to come into the building, people like yourselves. And in chatting to many people, people were saying they were so excited, but also a bit nervous. And I'll just repeat what I said to those students, that of course you're excited and nervous, but you should feel really proud of yourselves. So I'll finish how I started. You should be really proud for having received an offer. And the fact that you have got an offer for a very competitive program means we believe in you, and we will give you every opportunity to thrive at Melbourne Law School. So congratulations once again. I do very much hope to see you at orientation in early February. But in the meantime, I will hand over to my colleague, Megan Prichter, who's the director of the JD. So thanks, Megan.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much for that great introduction. And I also would like to welcome and congratulate everyone today for receiving an offer to Melbourne Law School. I absolutely endorse what Michelle has said, that you should be very proud of yourselves. It's a great achievement to get an offer for this place. I also want to acknowledge that I'm joining the call today from the beautiful land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respect to elders past and present. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the nuts and bolts of the course, and then you might have questions at the end that myself or the students or Harriet can answer for you. So you may know some of this already. The Melbourne Juris Doctor, or JD, is a graduate law degree. It leads to admission to practice law in all Australian jurisdictions, and it can also be used as a basis to seek admission to practice in many overseas jurisdictions. The course comprises 16 compulsory subjects and 8 elective subjects. So those compulsory subjects cover prescribed knowledge areas that everyone who wants to be admitted to practice as a lawyer has to learn. The course is over 3 years full time. It can be accelerated to 2.5 years with approval, but it also can be stretched out by studying part-time, whether that's a little bit, so extending your degree to 3.5 years, or proceeding more slowly, you can extend it to up to 6 years. And we do see many of our students who might commence full-time, sometimes shift to part-time during their degree to accommodate different life events or life stages or work requirements, for instance. So we do have that flexibility. As Michelle said, orientation is in early February, and then the course itself starts in February as well. We don't have any mid-year intake, and it starts with the subject legal method and reasoning, for all of our students, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. We have more than 50 elective subjects to choose from, and I'll also give you a bit more information about that in a moment. But the main message here is you have 16 compulsory subjects and 8 electives to complete. So next year for you will look something like this. Legal method and reasoning kicks off in February. It's a 2-week intensive subject before the main semester starts. And then here you can see what first year looks like with the annotations FT for full-time students and PT for part-time students. So if you are doing the course as a full-time student next year, you'll have legal method and reasoning in February, and then semester 1, which kicks off, I think it's very end of February or the start of March, with obligations, principles of public law and torts. I often teach torts, and I did this year. I would say, I'd argue back with Michelle that constitutional law is the best compulsory subject. I think torts is a fantastic subject in first semester. And then in second semester, there's 4 compulsory subjects: constitutional law, contracts, disputes and ethics, and legal theory. However, if you're following a part-time program, you won't do that full suite of subjects in first year. So legal method and reasoning in February is taught in quite a small group format over a 2-week period. It's 3.5 hours of classes per day for the 2 weeks, and we have up to 30 students per class. There's lots of opportunity in legal method and reasoning to get to know each other and to get to know your teacher. It's a very interactive subject. There's lots of chance for class discussion. It's a quick turnaround, so it's only graded pass or fail, not you don't actually get a mark for it. And that means that we can quickly teach you all of the basics that you need to know about how to find and understand the law in order to then proceed into first semester with the more content-focused materials. Legal method and reasoning is also a great point at which you get to meet other students from higher years with the Pathfinder program that the Melbourne University Law Students Society runs. So each of the legal method and reasoning classes is allocated a couple of Pathfinder students who are usually second years, and they will meet with you, take you out for coffee or things like that. And it's a great way to get your questions answered by people who are just ahead of you a little bit in the course, and you might have questions for those students that you would rather direct to them than a teaching member of staff. That Pathfinder program continues into semester 1, but we have other support opportunities available to really wrap around you in your first year of law school. One of those is the EAGLE program that provides lots of information and guidance and workshops about how to improve your study skills and really maximise your learning in first year of law. And there's also a mentoring opportunity. So we have lots of ways in which we really want to assist you to succeed in law school from day one. The A.N. Malkin Centre for Legal Academic Skills is a core part of that support, and that's the centre that runs the EAGLE program I just mentioned. So in classes, you will learn substantive law. You'll learn about what the law says about contracts or the Constitution. But the Ian Malcolm Centre is really there to help you develop study skills, to help you understand how to read legal texts, to help you with things like time management and note-taking, and how to tackle different modes of assessment. And that's all really important because there is a lot of material packed into the law degree, and it's really important that you are maximising the time that you have to study and really approaching it in a way that's going to be very effective for your learning. So things to look forward to, as I mentioned, we have a really large number of elective subjects. This year there were more than 50 JD elective subjects, and they're not all listed on the screen, but this slide gives you a flavour of the diverse options that are available as electives. Electives you can integrate into your law degree from second year, so you might like to start thinking now about what interests you and keeping an eye out for electives on offer. Some of our most popular are practically oriented ones, such as mediation, negotiation, and advocacy. But you can also see that you can really get exposure to a diverse range of legal topics, whether you're interested in new technologies, in global legal practice, or in things like sports law or refugee law. All of these electives are available to you, and you can also take up to 2 subjects from the Melbourne Law Masters, of which there are hundreds of subjects on offer. We have particular electives that are clinical subjects, so by which I mean you get to practice being a lawyer, being a junior lawyer, and providing advice to real-life clients under the supervision of a member of staff. So again, we have a range of different clinical subjects on offer. These are by application, so things like the Public Interest Law Clinic, Indigenous Legal Advocacy Clinic, the Tax Clinic. So these work either on-site at Melbourne Law School or out in the community to give you exposure to real-world legal practice and legal problems. Similarly, we have internships where our law students go out and work within other organisations, and you can see a list of those on the screen, but the list of internships varies from year to year. I have the privilege of being involved with one at the Murdoch Children's Research Institute, where law students go and work alongside an in-house lawyer, tackling legal problems and providing legal guidance on things like privacy and data protection in the health research environment. So again, a great opportunity to really build your skills and your portfolio of experience, and these internships are highly valued. We have a lot of international opportunities. So we have degree partnerships at a range of leading law schools internationally, where you can do most of your JD and then go and study, for instance, a master's level degree overseas and have both of those degrees credited. We also have travelling subjects, as Michelle mentioned, where our students can go overseas as a class group to consider different topics like technology in Singapore or Indigenous legal frameworks in New Zealand, Aotearoa. And we have exchange opportunities that take our students to lots of different exciting universities overseas. I think this is just mostly a repeat of what I've already said. We have a range of international subjects, travelling subjects, and exchange opportunities throughout the world. Another great service that we provide to our law students is a careers service. So many of you are starting the degree already thinking, well, where is this going to take me and how am I going to get my foot in the door in quite a competitive employment environment? So we have, I think, world-leading career services to support you in that. They provide one-on-one help, including resume review and interview help. We have careers presentations from external, from employers who come into the law school careers fairs. We have legal internships and clinics, as I already said, that provide you that work experience while you're still a student. There are there's a regular jobs newsletter, so lots of our students work, for instance, as paralegals in law firms while they're studying. And for our international students, we have a special program called Ellis that is really designed to build up your employment networks in Australia while you are here. Our student groups and societies are another fantastic aspect of studying law in the Melbourne JD. And I know we have our incoming Melbourne University Law Student Society president who will be on the student panel today, which is fantastic. So the Law Student Society is a representative student body at the law school that is designed to provide students with an absolutely stellar experience during their law school journey, as well as providing excellent networking opportunities. They run a lot of different events and competitions, and the competitions in particular are a great way to have fun and meet people while expanding your skills in the legal sphere. I've already mentioned the Pathfinder program. The LSS runs a Stepping Stones program. That's a youth mentoring program, fostering relationships between current law students and senior secondary school students across Melbourne. And they run career events as well. So they're an extremely active law student society. But there are a range of other, I suppose, topic-specific law student groups that you can engage with. So some of these pick up on particular types of interests that you might have developed during your undergraduate degree or during other parts of your life so far. So, for instance, for students who come in having studied music or fine arts, they're often interested in joining the FAME group, the Film, Arts, Media and Entertainment Law Student Society. Or for students who come in with a science or a biomedical science degree or a degree in engineering, they might head towards the Science and Technology Law Association. So these groups run social events, but also seminars about careers and other topical subject matter, and bring in expert panels and so on. So they're another really great way to engage and get the most out of your law degree while you are with us. Okay, I think that is enough of me talking, and I'm going to hand over to Harriet now, who is going to introduce our fantastic student panel, but I will stay on the Zoom in case there are any questions for me. Thanks, Harriet.
Amazing. Thanks, Megan. That was very interesting. And thank you to everyone that is online. We've got a lot. I also want to just mention that we do have our admissions and scholarships team in the background. So if you have questions, feel free to pop them through and either they'll answer them, or if it's something more broad that the whole of you might want to ask our student panel directly, or myself or Megan, feel free to send those through and they will send them over to me. So I might kick off with an introduction with Hanor and Annabelle. I will go with, we'll start off with Annabelle, just in alphabetical order. So these are two of our amazing current JD students. Annabelle, do you want to just tell us what you studied as an undergrad, why you chose the JD and at MLS, and what year you're in now?
Hi everyone, I'm Annabelle. I'm going into second year as a JD student. And my undergrad was here at Melbourne actually, and I did a Bachelor of Arts and I studied philosophy and politics. And I think what drew me to the Juris Doctor was actually my undergrad in philosophy. I felt like maybe my interest in kind of logic and reasoning would be applicable to some of the work I would do in the JD, but I didn't actually know very much about law going into it. So I remember me last year in this orientation meeting, just kind of like my mind being a bit blown. So yeah, it's a really exciting time for you all.
Amazing, thank you. Hanor, I'll go over to you now.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Hanor. I'm going into my third and final year of the JD, which is crazy to say. I did my undergrad in Michigan State in the US, but I'm an international student from India, and I studied political science and criminal justice. So it was a Bachelor of Arts. And I picked the Melbourne JD quite funnily because I was at a career fair and I met Todd, who works in North America representing the University of Melbourne. And his description of the Melbourne JD and of Melbourne as a city was everything I was looking for in a postgrad program. And it just happened to work out really well. And that's how I've ended up here.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So Hanor, can I just get you to tell us a bit about your involvement with the Law Society, what you've done previously, and I guess maybe some of your plans and what you're looking forward to about being president for next year?
Yes, of course. So in my 2 years already in the JD, I was part of the LSS, which is the Melbourne University Law Student Society. I served as education director last year, which is funnily enough Annabelle this year, so that's very exciting. This year I serve, and going into next year I serve as president. I am also part of the Melbourne University Law Review as an admin assistant and an outreach officer. And I've been a part of the Stateless Legal Clinic last semester or 2 semesters ago, which was also a very exciting opportunity. And going into next year, I'll talk a little bit about what the LSS does and what you can expect when you come to the JD next year. But the LSS primarily runs multiple programs across the law school. We do social work in terms of activities, so law ball, law camp, everything social in the degree. A big part of our work is careers, so setting you up for careers while you're in the JD, but also after you graduate. We have the education portfolio, which Annabelle is running this year, and that is meant to offer you support as you go through your subjects, offering you advice on how to study, doing practice exams. We run a informal tutorial services, which is quite useful as well. And beyond that, we also have representative portfolios. So the international students rep, the women and gender diverse individuals rep, the Indigenous students rep, the queer rep, and we just hope to be like a society that not only supports you in every aspect of the degree, but also is a place that you can come to when you need direction or support or help. Yeah, and happy to answer more direct questions about that as well.
Perfect, thank you. Annabelle, can you tell us a bit about your involvement and what your plans are for the new year working with the committee?
Absolutely. So, yeah, I am the new education director, which is so nice because, yeah, Hanor was in that role last year. And I guess my involvement with the LSS just started by being a part of the education portfolios initiatives in terms of just joining them. Like me last year, I heard about Pathfinders and I had a really good experience doing that. And that's actually where I met Hanor. And I found the services of the LSS to be so useful in my first year. And it really helped me find my feet and have extra support. So it was something I was really interested in getting involved in. I think going into next year with the education portfolio, we've got some really fun initiatives coming up. Pathfinders, like we've discussed, and we're actually going to be extending it into first year. Basically, I just liked it so much. I was like, why not some more of it? And I also think it will be really helpful maybe to have a check-in with your mentors throughout the term, specifically at kind of more difficult points, like after, interim assessments and before exams, so you can kind of get that perspective. We also have the orientation guidebook coming out, which will be great and really help give students all the information they need about the services of Melbourne Law School and the different societies. So yeah, it's going to be a really good year.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. Now I'll ask both of you this. One of the questions we've had come through, and we always get this one. How have you found the study load between your undergraduate and then coming into the Juris Doctor? Have you had to manage that with well, obviously you're both extracurricular, but in terms of any caring duties or part-time work outside of that? Annabelle, I'll kick off with you, if that's all right.
Well, study load. Well, I'm not going to lie to you all. It is a significant study load, this degree. It's very different to my Bachelor of Arts. The load in that was a lot lighter than this. I think students that maybe come in from commerce or science or different backgrounds have a little bit more of an understanding of this particular study load, just because it's exam based. So like every week of content, you really need to be locked in and making sure your notes are up to date. Whereas with arts, it's more like you choose your two like fave topics of the semester, get really deep into them and produce research materials. So it was definitely an adjustment for me. Like I'm not going to lie there, but I did find it manageable and there are resources that can support you. I worked all throughout first year. I'm a private tutor, so I worked about 15 hours a week. And I think that's probably just the maximum I could work. I did, and that was with doing 3 subjects each semester. I think personally, if I was to do a full course load, I would have to cut back more on that. But different people, I have friends that are working more than me and also doing a full course load. So it's really up to you and what you feel like you can manage, especially also because I was quite involved in like some extracurriculars and competitions at the law school. I found that I needed that balance, but it was an adjustment. I was like, wow. But I think second semester, once you kind of find your feet and you're able to kind of know what the expectations of you are, you can kind of work a bit smarter and it can really be a bit more manageable.
Amazing. Thank you. What about you, Hannah?
Very similar to Annabelle. It was definitely a leg up from my undergrad as well, in terms of not only the course load and like how much it requires of you, but also the way of studying law is so unique that you have to relearn how to study, and you have to work constantly on understanding not only what the material is, but how you want to apply the material in exams, which I think is very different from undergrad, where you learn and you can apply it very directly, and it sort of is, there isn't much happening in between of like the application and the study. But I think in law, there's a lot more that goes on in that aspect of studying, and that took some time to get used to and to understand and get down in terms of being confident at it. But I very much do agree with Annabelle that I worked part-time my first semester as well, but I was only doing 3 subjects, and then I moved to doing 4 subjects and doing competitions and extracurriculars. So I decided I couldn't work anymore because I just decided to prioritize other things in the law school. But I think it comes down to very much like 2 things in terms of what can you manage and what you're comfortable with, and also what you like prioritize. Because I really prioritized extracurriculars in the law school. I really wanted to be involved in the student societies and the law review. I wanted to do competitions, and I wanted to do well in school. So that meant that working had to take a back seat. But if you're someone who doesn't really want to be involved in extracurriculars and prefer working, I think that balance is very subjective and can be made. But it takes a little bit of time to get used to being in the JD and getting your flow.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And I think, another question we've had come in, and we got asked this a lot actually on Tuesday as well, is what can I do to prepare? Feel free for either of you to jump in, but I think Michelle and Judith, who are there on the night, both said just relax and enjoy the summer. As both the girls today have said, like, it is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of fun, but a lot of hard work. So yes, enjoy the next few months, I think. And yeah, hopefully we'll get some good weather here in Melbourne. One question we've had come through, I'm moving from interstate and don't know many people in Melbourne. How did you go about making friends at the law school? Hannah, do you want to kick off?
Yes, and I love this question because I was in the exact same boat 2 years ago. And I moved internationally, so I knew nobody in the country. And I don't know what I was thinking when I was so brave, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. But the good news is that the way that the Melbourne JD is set up, and the way that orientation is set up, and the collaboration of the law school with the Law Student Society in terms of social events, orientation, law camp, especially during the legal methods and reasoning part of before you even enter your first semester, is so, so, so good. And it is so conducive to building good relationships with your peers, making sure that you can meet people across different streams, and the opportunities for you to make friends are endless. And I cannot emphasize this enough. My biggest piece of advice would be to know that everybody is in the same boat. There's definitely going to be people who, know people from undergrad and went to Melbourne for undergrad and see the same people that they know and, already know people. But a majority of people are probably going to be coming in wanting to make friends. And I would recommend getting out of your comfort zone. It's definitely going to be nerve-wracking just going up to people and talking to them and just, like introducing yourself to like a full stranger. But I promise that it is the way that everybody is making friends. Today, like my closest friends, I met them on my first day of orientation. So the first day I got here, I met them because I sat next to them. We started talking, and now they're like probably going to be at my wedding. So it just go out of your comfort zone, and everybody is feeling the same level of anxious, nervous, people kind of energy. There's going to be a lot of social things happening. Go to them all, and it takes time and it can be exhausting. And I know you probably want to go home after a long day of LMR, but the best thing you can do for yourself is to go to every pizza lunch, to go to every welcome back drinks, to go to every, you know, a little event that's happening, because I promise a lot will be happening. But yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. What about yourself, Annabelle?
I absolutely concur with what Hanor just said. This degree is so social. It's amazing. Like, compared to my undergrad, I would say it's more similar to maybe a high school experience, just with, in the sense that you know everyone. Like, maybe you're not best friends with everyone in the degree, but you go up to people, like you'll be filling up your water bottle and you'll have a chat. It's really lovely, and it's something that I didn't expect. And it's probably been one of the main highlights, just how many like lovely people I've gotten to meet throughout this. It's been amazing. And although I did do my undergrad at Melbourne, so I went in with one friend, but we were able to kind of branch off and spread our wings. But I would say, like, don't be worried. Like, everyone will be really wanting to make friends and get involved. And I would just encourage you as much as possible. Like, law camp was a really great experience that I loved. It was a real highlight of my year. So I would definitely get around that if you're able to. And I think, yeah, it's really social. So I don't think you'll have any problem meeting new people and kind of finding a friend group and finding a community here.
Amazing. Thank you. So hi, Annabelle and Hanoa. Did you know specifically what fields of law or jobs that you were interested in when you applied? If not, how has MLS helped you find it, or are you still deciding? Annabelle, do you want to go?
Sure. I actually didn't. So I think I said before, I really didn't know much about the law. Like, I remember before orientation, I watched this video that I think was pitched at maybe like year sevens, being like, what is the law? Because I was like, wait, what is the law? Like, let me get a bit more, let me get a little bit educated on this. And I think I had my general interest coming from a Bachelor of Arts background, that I was kind of, I thought maybe public law would be something I would be interested in, and government, and also kind of, you know, more human facing criminal family law. But I think throughout this year, it's helped crystallize kind of the activities I've engaged in, what I wanted to do a bit more. I think doing the subjects, doing the academic work, but also being involved in the alumni mentoring program, where you get placed with a professional in an industry and you get to talk to them, and certain like networking opportunities I've engaged in. I also think competitions, doing that with the student society, that was a really big thing for me that made me think that I might want to pursue a career in advocacy after my experience engaging in student competitions. So I think the experience of both the course and extracurricular opportunities has really helped kind of guide me a bit more. And definitely there's a really great maybe you wouldn't think this, but like, it's been so lovely how willing people who are legal professionals are to kind of help and mentor you and give you advice and meet you for coffees and really engage with you. So I would really take advantage of that. It's so helpful to talk to someone that's doing a career that you might be interested in, and get that kind of sense of what it's like on a day-to-day, to kind of think more about what you want to do for the future.
Perfect. Thank you. And what about yourself, Hanor?
So I came in wanting to do litigation and wanting to go to court and probably, you know, being a barrister. But since coming to the law school and having done 2 years, that is not what I want to do anymore at all. That is not something I'm even remotely interested in. And I think I want to do more transactional work. And I think coming to that realization was a combination of 3 different things for me. The first was the electives that the law school offers, which I think are quite diverse, and I was able to take a few this year as a second year, and they've really opened my mind into the things that I'm interested in and what really makes me excited about the law. The second is that the tutors also, even all your compulsory subjects in your first year, are so approachable and so knowledgeable. Like, most of them have worked in different fields of the law in various jobs and capacities and are more than happy to talk to you about them. And I realized that that was really good perspective, because I was able to see what brought them where they were today and how that work had impacted the work they were doing now, if it was something I was interested in. And the final thing is to plug the LSS careers team. They host a lot of weekly sessions of where lawyers come in to chat in specialist areas. So if you're interested in M&A, if you're interested in disputes and litigation, or you're interested in IP, or if you just want to hear work that a firm does, or what the VGSO does, or what it is like to be in public service. There's so much happening all the time. And I was able to see and go to these sessions and ask questions of the people there, like, what do you do? Like, what is your job truly on a day-to-day? And that gave me really good perspective of what I wanted to do and what I wanted my career to look like.
Perfect. Thank you. One question we've had, and I can probably add a little bit to this. I don't know if you guys might know more. Are there any student discounts for buying study equipment, computers, tablets, textbooks? I know the university does have various discounts, so make sure you do look online. I know our library also has a lot that you can borrow. Obviously, they are in high demand, so you might need a little bit of sharing. Am I right in saying the LSS has some resources?
So I have two pieces of advice in terms of that. I think the first is that your student email gives you a lot of discounts on various websites by the nature of it being a student email. I think Student Beans or a similar website like that, you can just plug in and make an account and it'll tell you what websites offer you discounts just because you're a student. And the second is in terms of textbooks. I realized after my first semester that most older students are selling their textbooks, which primarily were in really, really good condition. And were more often than not the edition that you needed, or were just one edition behind. So not very different from what you're prescribed. And I ended up doing that every semester, but my first semester where I bought textbooks. So if you can wait, I would recommend waiting a little. You'll be added to many Facebook pages where older students will probably just post and say, selling a textbook or, selling these textbooks. And I thought that's how I've got on. So it's been quite useful. Harriet, you're muted.
Thank you. The one time I put myself on mute. Sorry. When it comes to picking electives, would you suggest going for breadth or depth? In other words, should I spend my time concentrating on one field of law, specifically with regards to my electives, or should I take a large diversity of courses? Annabelle, do you want to go?
I can absolutely have a crack. I actually haven't started doing my electives
Yeah.
yet. First year, you all do core. So this is actually a question that's kind of on my mind a bit. I think my approach will be to engage in more of a breadth. I think for me, I see electives as a really good opportunity to kind of sort of diversify in terms of what I might be interested in. I've already got some kind of career interest coming out of my first year, but I think you encounter things that you never thought you would encounter. Like I know a girl in third year who thought she was going to come in and work in the government, and then she did a construction law elective, I think, and she realized that this was where her passion led, and she would have never known if she hadn't taken that elective and taken that leap. So I think that's kind of the mindset that I'll be going in when I'm picking my electives in the future.
Hannah, do you have anything to add?
Very similar approach. I've done like a very diverse pickings of electives, and I think I'm going to do an elective anyway. I might as well, get a little bit from various fields, because when I go into the workforce, I'll be trained in how to work in particular areas, and so I want to know what piques my interest.
Amazing. Megan, do you have anything to add to that?
I would just endorse that. I think, if you approach electives as kind of a great opportunity to taste a lot of different fields that you might not otherwise be exposed to. Certainly that was my experience as a law student, that I did electives and I went, oh, hang on, that was super interesting and I had no idea anything about that field. I think that's a great way to approach those offerings. Perfect.
Thank you. Okay, Hannah, I've got a few for you, probably about the US. We've got a lot of our North American students online. I have a criminal justice, a background in criminal justice from the US. Could you share what you found to be the biggest difference between studying in the United States and Melbourne Law School?
Yes. I think fundamentally I want to start because I did a bachelor's and now I'm in a master's level course. I think they're very different in just by the nature of what we're studying. But beyond that, I'll offer a little challenge that I think I faced because I didn't do undergrad here, which was that a lot of people come in with this assumed knowledge of how the government works and, just a general knowledge and understanding of the Australian political landscape, which I didn't have much of, but I think was something that I, had to do a little bit of extra work to catch up on and know where I was situated and what conversations were about. And I think this was especially apparent to me in the public law class that we did our first year, where even though the class is quite comprehensive and accounts for people who might not have been in Australia for a long time, there was still a few conversations or, class discussions where I wasn't sure what was going on. And I think that was like my biggest difference that I, by the nature of like studying very, political or law-facing degrees into different jurisdictions. But beyond that, I think there wasn't much of a challenge in moving from studying in America to the JD here, because I think even in America, a law degree is a JD. So I think in that sense, the degree is quite conducive and takes a lot from what I've studied already. So no challenges or things to worry about academically, but yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Oh, this is an interesting one. Do you know about a good online YouTube series or Melbourne Uni training series that trains people on how to take notes in the law school? Firstly, I would say no, but I know Megan touched on it, and Hannah and Annabelle, you might want to add to it, but the Pathfinders and the Ian Malkin Centre and Ellis and things that we have in place to support people, I think, the best thing about the Juris Doctor is most of our students are coming from such a wide range of backgrounds, be that, arts, biomedicine, science. So do you guys want to touch on a bit of maybe the supports that you used in first year? Annabelle, do you want to go?
Sure. Yeah, so I did Eagle in my first semester, which is the course that you were talking about before, which is really helpful for giving you a basis. It's not course content, but it kind of goes through how to take notes. I took there was I think it's the first Eagle class we ever did, and it was a table on how to take effective case notes, and that carried me through the whole first year of my degree. So I'm quite grateful for that. And with note taking, I also the education portfolio has some great resources. We have the student tutorial service where you have high achieving students from the prior years that kind of give tips about how they personally structured things. And I would say also my peers have been a great academic resource for me. Like friends really do help you do better in law school, which is great. It's kind of twofold. So I've definitely asked second years a lot of questions about how they find it effective to structure their notes and do their work and put that together. But ultimately it is quite individual. Sometimes I look at my friends' exam notes and I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know how you work with that. I like with my exam notes, I'm like, then do this, you're doing great. Like I like it to be very structured and kind of step bit by bit. And some people are just happy to kind of have like a table or massive notes. So I think you get to learn throughout taking the degree what really works for you. And I think even in my second semester of exams, I think I've landed on a structure that is most effective for me for note taking. So it is a little bit of a process, but there's a lot of support from the law school and from the student society to help you along the way.
Perfect. What about you, Hannah?
Very similar to what Annabelle has said, but I think it is it's a very subjective kind of practice where if I look at my notes from first semester, I probably would be like, what was I doing? What is going on here? And now at the end of second year, I think I've refined the practice and I found a way that works best for me, but also highly shout out the Eagle program. It was so helpful in not only having a second year student to very directly and informally ask questions that you might be a little afraid to ask in other, social settings, but they had great advice on how to structure notes, what's important, because coming in, I felt this need to have everything in my notes because it is open book and being like, what if I need this information, or what if I need this one obscure fact, and then realizing that that is not how you should be thinking about your notes, and that guidance was very helpful. So very similar experience to Annabelle in that regard.
And Megan has just sent through a website, success@mls.com, which I've got the team to put. So for everyone online, you should be able to see that. And if everyone, else, you can Google that at some stage if you'd like. Megan, is there anything else you wanted to add in terms of learning to take notes, or no? The girls have covered it. Amazing. Okay. Oh gosh, we've got quite a few questions. Look at the time. We're not going to get through these all, but I've got the team in the background. They will be answering as many as they can. So I might just finish. Where would an average JD graduate end up in terms of graduate jobs or careers? I would say varied, but I don't know, Megan, do you want to say what some of your students have ended up doing?
Yeah, I don't think there is an average JD graduate. I think that the places that JD can take you are endless, really. Many of our students do end up going into commercial practice, whether that's for a few years or for a longer period. Many end up working in government and the public service. Many go overseas to practice law, or in law firms, or in not-for-profits like the International Committee of the Red Cross, for instance, or work for charity organisations. But many of our students also don't eventually end up in legal practice, but they use those skills in management consulting, in really senior executive roles in pretty much every industry or employment context you can think of. So yeah, I think while there is a perception that Melbourne Law School graduates head into corporate law practice and prevail in that context, I really think the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, perfect. I work with the Ambassador program, and I think, I've now done 3 or 4 years, and almost everyone I've seen finish the JD has gone off into something different. Hannah or Annabelle, are you doing any internships, or have you thought about what you might do after the degree? Hannah, do you want to go first?
Yes, I am not doing any internships this year, but I end up in commercial law. I really like the idea of working in tech or in IP law, so hopefully somewhere there would be quite exciting. But as Megan said, I don't see myself, constricting myself to one field of law, because I know that my interests will change as I grow as a person, and I know that I'm skilled enough because of the degree to be successful wherever I end up.
Amazing. And what about you, Annabelle?
I'm going on holiday over the holidays. I'm actually going to Thailand and Vietnam with a girl I met on my first day of orientation. So you'll meet great friends. But I think I've really decided that I think I do want to be a barrister. And from that, I've been able to meet up with a lot of people who do that profession. And I think competitions were a really great experience for me in showing that that is something that I would be interested in pursuing. And I definitely intend to engage in more professional opportunities throughout the course of the degree.
Amazing, thank you. And we do offer a lot of careers fairs. We've got a whole careers team dedicated in the law school, so you're more than welcome to book an appointment with them. Look, we are right on 11 a.m, so I am going to wrap up there. I know our team is still busily replying to all of your questions in the background. But as of next week, we'll be opening up some one-on-one Zoom appointments. If you have further questions about the degree, or, I'm sure if you'd like to ask Megan or our students anything, I can pass them on to them in the coming days and weeks. But yeah, finally, I would just like to say thank you to Annabelle and Hannah and Megan and Michelle Foster, who has had to dash off. It was so wonderful to have you all online today, and we cannot wait to see you here in the new year. So yeah, thanks, Hannah. So we will see you here in February at the orientation. But honestly, if you do have questions or you would like to catch up with us one-on-one, please do send us an inquiry. And as I said, they will be fully open from next week. So we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks, everyone.